Champ is here. You just working out all the stops, boy. You just got your Sky Zoo shades on, your Muhammad Ali, boxing jacket, Ohio State Buckeyes in the background. What kind of shirt you got, boss?
I can't do this show, bro. I can't do this show.
You sipping on margaritas. Beautiful, beautiful.
I done seen everything now.
You little chilly in that room.
How we gonna do this show after that, bro? We can't get together. How we gonna do the show after that, man? We can't get
It's cold. It's cold in the ice house, baby. Cold in the ice house, baby. Yes, cold in the ice house.
Oh man. Gosh, oh, but that says it all right there, baby.
Oh, my stomach. Oh. What's the name of the drink, man? I gotta ask.
Oh man, you know what? It's only one. You can't sip out of something like this. It's a mimosa, bro.
Mimosa? Okay.
No.
Usually that's a morning drink, morning or brunch drink. You said,
it's a drink for champions, baby. You drink whatever you don't let nobody set the tone for you, baby. Are you kidding me? What is going on?
Oh, man.
Wait till your
What's going on, ice?
You walk till you beat your own drum, baby, don't you? You supposed to. You an author. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, baby.
I gotta get it together. I'm
doing the show.
Woo. Oh, let me get it together, man.
It may take a while, baby.
Yeah, you got.
I know I'm gonna need a minute.
You got me.
Try to tell y'all, man. You don't understand it, brother.
You got me. That's the way to end the year right there.
No commentary is needed.
No commentary needed.
Let me put it that way. Is that better for you, brother?
No. Keep the shades on. Please keep the shades on. So if you don't know us by now.
Oh.
Turn out the lights.
Wow.
Turn out the lights.
Wow. Okay. We gotta get this together.
Come on, man. What? Are we doing the show tonight? You told me. I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't tell.
Welcome to the First 40. It is I, Puma, along with Star Child, Ice Water, and Black Thor. We're gonna give you sports. This week in sports, and we're gonna kind of recap on what happened last week. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and so that you can get updates every time we do a show and post it on YouTube. What's going on, Black?
Hey, feeling good, man. Feeling good, baby. I'm along for the ride tonight, baby. I'm just along for the ride.
And the man that's gonna take us for a ride, I don't know what. He's all right. Oh, he's on mimosas. Ice Water, baby, Star Child, father of the funk.
I tried to tell you tried to find out whether or not you was a true funketeer. Evidently not. I tried to tell you that. You Ohio player here, baby.
What a way to go out with a bang in 2020. We're gonna go to our eye test first. NFL players, teams, and games in Week 16. Ice, that stood out to you, man.
Yeah, first of all, let's start out with them Cincinnati Bengals. I am amazed, literally amazed at what they've been doing. You switch quarterbacks in like the last couple weeks. Brandon Allen came out, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, lead the Bengals to a win over Houston. The week before, Ryan Finley only throws for 89 yards, runs the ball. picks up the win versus Pittsburgh. Cincinnati Bengals all day long there. What can you say? Also impressed by Pittsburgh Steelers where they came back against Indianapolis. That's really impressive. We've seen them the last couple of weeks kind of play to a certain level and then falter in the end. But I think they knew this was kind of like a do or die situation. They wanted to turn it around. And they got the job done against a very decent team. And last but not least, let's see. I want to go with Seattle. And I know some people might go, why? But the Seattle defense showed up last night. They showed up, played a little better than what they have been before. And if they can get that going and Russell Wilson can calm down a little bit, still need to learn how to give Carlos Hyde that ball a little bit more. I think they're going to be okay. They'll play tight games, but their defense really showed up, and seems like they also, even though we didn't think it was going to happen, they were able to secure winning their division. They got that title. They won the division, which when they were suffering earlier, you didn't think that was going to be possible, especially when Russell Wilson was struggling.
All right, Black, give me your eye test for Week 16 of the NFL, bro.
Well, I'll say this, man. I know they basically have a lock on the first game on Thanksgiving, but the NFL need to give serious consideration about putting the Detroit Lions in prime time anymore, man. They should be banned for at least 5 years the way they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on that football day, bro. I understand your coach, you got fired, whatever the case may be, but there's no way you should have a defense that allow a team to basically up and down the field. Tom Brady's not Johnny Unitas. Let's be honest. Those receivers are not the best show on turf. But that game was over after the initial kickoff. It was just basically over. I don't know if they just quit or they're just that bad. But Tampa Bay has a record of not playing good teams and beating them. So we'll see when they get in the playoffs if they make it. Look like they're on their way to making it. I'm going to say something, man, that a little tough to say, but I must say it. The Dallas Cowboys are playing some football, bro. Something happened down there. I don't know if Jerry had a conversation with the players and said he's not going to pay you if you don't make the playoffs. But if you look now, this quarterback is slinging that ball well. And the question is, Dak who? Because if they get in and win a game without Dak Prescott in the playoffs, I don't know if that contract is going to be signed. I'm just not sure if it's going to be signed. I agree about Cincinnati, man. We kind of thought it was a fluke last week and they played Pittsburgh and they won, but they got something going on there. In Cleveland, for the life of me, I don't understand. You have the best running game, if not the best, second to the best, maybe third to the best in the NFL. And you keep trying to make this quarterback be something he's not. You can't lose to – I don't care if you have no receivers. You didn't even need them. You can't lose to the New York Jets. You just can't. You can't. At this point, stage of the season, you cannot beat the New York Jets. And one of the most high-power offenses in the NFL right now belongs to the Chicago who? Think about that for a few seconds there, Boom. We thought about – and I still believe you should be fired. But you can't tell me now Chicago's going to get rid of this head coach. They're not. For some reason, they like the ball. They're letting the ball up, getting the ball down the field. And Kansas City, I know it's Mike, I think they look beyond Atlanta a little bit. But I think a little bit they're stubbing their toes just a little bit, and they're going to need that week to kind of relax and regress and kind of look back a little bit and move forward once the players get started. Atlanta played them tough, man. They played them real tough. I do like J.J. Watt coming out and saying what he said about some of his players not showing up for practice, not playing, and, the season is basically over. They're not showing up, but they're still getting paid. I think from time to time, man, forget that in-house meeting. Stand behind what you feel and what you believe in and say it and let people know, man. Forget about, this sore stuff. I respect any man to step and say something. You don't have to agree with it, but I like the fact what he said and what he did.
Yeah, I was going to mention that a little bit later. You're getting paid because they scored enough points to win. It was the defense that kind of let Houston down in that particular game. And I think he felt that. You have Deshaun Watson just going all out. You got the running back. You got, receivers playing all out on the offensive side of the ball, and you lose 37-31. 31 points should get you a win in the NFL. But, you got to have a defense to keep teams off the scoreboard. And I think he might have been talking to the whole team, but I got a sense that he was talking to mostly the defensive side of the ball that just didn't hold serve in that game. The game that I saw that I paid most attention to is the Rams against Seattle. And I wanted to see if the Rams were going to kind of step up and try to, punch their ticket into the playoffs. And they just couldn't do it. For whatever reason, the Seattle Seahawks defense came to play, and they were just sticking it to the Rams. And then Russell Wilson just made a way, 225 yards, 1 touchdown. Metcalf had 6 receptions for 59 yards. He was doing it the tough way because the Rams were covering the top. They wouldn't let him just get by them and get by the safety. Ramsey tried to play him a little tough, but he was able to grind out some yards. And then Carlson, 16 attempts, 69 yards. They did it the gritty way, but they knew they had to get that win to get the division to punch their ticket in the playoffs. Golf won't be playing next week against Arizona. So looks like Arizona holds serve, which they didn't against the 49ers this week. Should punch their ticket into the playoffs or get a chance to go in the playoffs. We'll see about that. But Tom Brady, I said it last week on the show, on the Pick Show, that I just expected a big game from him playing against the Lions and having a bad game, and their team not really kind of showing what they can do in previous weeks. I just thought the Lions were the right team at the right time to make him look good and to get Tampa Bay in the playoffs. The other game last week was the Saints and the Vikings. And that Saints team, I got mad at Coach Payton. Give the brother the ball, get 7 touchdowns, man. Why you give Hill the ball at the 1-yard line to get him a touchdown? He didn't need that. Let the brother break the record, man. I was just pissed off looking at that, not letting Kamara get that 7th touchdown to break a record, man. That would have been great on his resume. I think he deserved it, but it's somehow, some way, they're just trying to put Hill in to give him some bones when Kamara's the guy that they need to win football games.
Yeah, you remember you was pulling for Hill to come in that game, thought he was going to make a difference in the world. But I'll say this, I think you're absolutely right. Part of it is Kamara was the guy, and then when Hill was the quarterback, he always took away. And maybe that's just the New Orleans brass trying to make him feel good just in case something happens to their quarterback, right? And so he's throwing him a bone or something to that effect. But it was Kamara's day. It really was. And it shows you what they're capable of. The other thing, too, is without Michael Thomas, they're going to need somebody to step up. So hopefully they get the message now. Kamara needs to be touching the ball in a number of ways. He needs to carry the rock. He needs to catch passes. And maybe he can talk to Michael Thomas to make sure he comes back for the playoffs, because they're going to need all that if they're going to even have a chance of winning one football game in the postseason.
Yeah, Black, what do you think about that New Orleans Saints game against Minnesota and the performance by Kamara?
Extraordinary, bro. I mean, that's a bad man, bro. A bad man. My son, I was talking the other day about him after that game, and it's like, you think about it, he fell to the 3rd round. I'm not saying it's every down back, but what he gives that offense, and he fits that offense, is something very strong. I'm gonna kind of double down on what I said about the quarterback. I'm not even sure it was done intentionally, but you want to keep him involved in the game just in case Drew Brees, for some reason, cannot make it or can't go, man. Because you got to keep in mind that cat's playing with 7 bad ribs. So I guess you want to kind of keep him involved, keep his juices flowing, just in case you need him. He's just not coming off and not being fresh. So if you throw him a bone, you make him feel good, and it kind of motivates the team. He did win 3 games when he was out. So I see both sides of it, and I think they might have been thinking on those terms. We want to keep him available, keep him strong in case, at some point. I will say this, man. Last year when they played Minnesota, Peyton, he does some things sometimes. I think he outsmarts himself. But when they played Minnesota, Drew Brees was stinging the field up in the playoff game. Hill was coming in, lighting up, but they didn't have any answer for him, and he kept pulling him in and out of the game. And I think he didn't want to hurt Drew Brees' feelings. If he'd have left Hill in that game, they would have won that playoff game. I'm sure of it, bro.
Hey, Ice, I remember we talked earlier this season about Green Bay and them not picking a receiver, but it seems like Adams is pretty much all they need, and those other young receivers have emerged in this Green Bay offense, even though it was in the cold and snow. I had a feeling that Green Bay was going to win that game, and that King Henry got decrowned in that game, and they held him in check, and they gave the crown to Dillon, who had 21 attempts and 124 yards for 2 touchdowns. Seems like Green Bay made the right decision to, really kind of hone in on a running game, and those receivers. I have to give it to them. Those Green Bay receivers have learned to play with Aaron Rodgers.
I can see that. I mean, but I'm like Dennis Green. I'm not going to crown them after one game. You want to crown them? Crown them. Crown it. Right? I'm not going to do that. I think that they ended up having a decent game. So, I mean, they blew Tennessee out. But at the same time, when you look at it, the question is, will they be able to do that in the postseason? And I'm not certain of that. The other thing too is the other receiver. He has the 3 names. I can't think of off the top of my head. They need to get him in the game. I mean, you got Adams, you got the running back Jones when he's ready, and then you have a couple other receivers. But the question is, when they get to the postseason, are they going to be able to do the same thing? And granted, they took advantage of the snow, the frozen tundra, what have you. But I need to know when the money's on the line, and you are so eloquently have said this in the past. So I'm gonna bring up your own quote to you, as you said that when they get punched in the mouth, they go lay down. So I want to see is going to be able to handle it when the chips are right there on the line. So great game. Take nothing from them. I agree with you. They did look really good. They scored 40 points, but it's kind of like NBA basketball in the regular season. What does it really mean?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the LA Clippers in a little bit. But Black, Green Bay Packers, man.
I'm gonna tell you something. I always believe that too. They punched him in the mouth. You punch Green Bay in the mouth, they kind of settle down. But I'm gonna say something, man. They proved something to me last night, and I wasn't sure about this. And I was saying a week ago, even if the Saints don't get home field and get the bye, they can travel. I don't see a team or a defense in the NFC that's going to go to Green Bay in January and beat them, bro. I just don't see it. San Francisco is not doing it this year. They're not going to be in the playoffs. They don't have to worry about them. Outside of the Saints defense, I don't see the defense that's going to scare them and slow them down. And there's something about that cold. I don't understand why brothers go up there knowing you're cold and you got your arms out and you're freezing. Bro, stop playing. Stop playing, bro. You know, layer up, go out there and do what you got to do. Then you get to the bench, you got the big jacket on, doing stop all that. But I think this year, them being home is going to get them to the Super Bowl, bro. Now, I would have said that a couple of weeks ago, but I do, because there's some psychology behind this as well. And you go up there, it's that cold, and you're not used to playing. That's what happened to Tennessee last night. You had their receivers running, and the Tennessee's cornerbacks, time the ball came, they were like 5 yards off. They're not used to playing in that. Green Bay is. They practicing it. They know it. So you get up there in the first quarter, it's that cold, you ain't doing well, you're going to shut it down, bro. You're going to shut it down. There's only one team I can remember years ago went up there that was real cold and beat Brett Favre. Oh, it was the New York Giants. They did that. I don't see the Giants defense in the NFC anymore, baby. I just don't see it. So I think they're on their way.
Yeah, we talked a little bit offline. It's a special kind of cold in Wisconsin. I don't know if anybody ever been to Wisconsin. I know Chicago is cold. The only kind of I know Michigan is really cold. I've been to Michigan where it's really cold, but it's a special kind of cold in Wisconsin. If you're not used to playing up there, you saw what Green Bay was doing. Ball control, kept the offense on the sidelines in jackets. And that is not a good way to sit in that cold watching a game. Then you got to get out on that offense and perform. You're cold. You're not warmed up anymore. And so you can see 3 and out, and then Aaron Rodgers, them trotting out there, smiling in the cold. No gloves. He's not throwing with gloves. And so he's out there with the little fanny pack, keeping his hands warm, going out there, doing what they do. And that defense just seems ferocious. So it's going to be an interesting game between Chicago and Green Bay. Green Bay comes down to Chicago and play. And speaking of Chicago, Black, Chicago, I think they beat maybe one team over 500. That was Tampa Bay. So, they look good against Houston. They look good against Jacksonville. Let's go up against Green Bay, and let's see what they do.
I'm with you.
Yeah, let's see what they do. Game ball, Black. Who gets the game ball this week?
I'm gonna give it to Aaron Rodgers, man. I'm gonna give it to him because the beginning of the year, we all thought he didn't have his receivers. We didn't think that he was going to be what he was. And sometimes Aaron Rodgers can be a little flaky upstairs, but he's found a way, man, to kind of make himself relevant this year. And for the first time, he's speaking out. He wants MVP. He wants it. Be damned, he's going to get it too. So I'm gonna give him the game ball this evening.
Ice, who gets the game ball?
Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator and their new quarterback every other week, Brandon Allen, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns. They're still finding ways to win ball games and score points. That's impressive when you had the number 1 pick of the draft and he's done for the year and you're still fighting to win games. That says a lot to me. I think they're on the right track. They might surprise you in the upcoming future.
I'm surprised you guys didn't pick Kamara, but I'm going to give it to Kamara with 6 touchdowns. Should have been 7 touchdowns. But my honorable mention is Fitzmagic, who I don't know how he got that ball off on the face mask. Threw it up in the air. And bye-bye Raiders.
Good, man. I said it last week. What is the Raiders doing up there, bro? What are they doing? I mean, what are they doing? Remember Hank Stram? What the hell's going on? That was Hank Stram. What the hell's going on up there?
Ram. They didn't even call. Did they call a penalty on that play with the face mask? I mean, it's obvious.
They did.
Did I? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I mean.
But here's another coach, basically trying to outsmart himself. I hate when people do this. Don't score a touchdown because you don't want to give him much time. That's the dumbest thing I've heard in my life, bro. I know the Giants tried that. You score.
Just score.
That's the object of the game. How you not score? Well, we don't want to give them too much time. Seriously? I don't get it.
It's a thing in football they used to call defense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Learn about it.
Yeah.
Develop one.
Man. And he's like, and he doubled down on it. That's what he doubled. Oh, I made the right decision. No, you didn't. You lost. I'd do it again. Okay. Yeah. That. Let's go to college football, man. I've been kind of in and out of bowl games, but the big games are coming up, on Friday with Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama and Notre Dame. There is a funny Twitter video where there's a lady who is obviously a Notre Dame fan, and when they were picking out the playoffs, she was going, oh no, and they were going number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, Notre Dame plays Alabama, and she just puts her face in her hands and like, oh God, here we go again. But the Notre Dame coach, he's coming out and saying, we don't have nothing to prove. We're there every year. Yeah, because they put you there every year. Y'all don't earn it. They put you there every year to get your ass wiped every year. I'm going to go with Ice Water on this one because he got the Ohio State Buckeye background out there. And I'm really hoping that Ohio State just puts an end to Dabo this year because he's still doubling down that Ohio State doesn't deserve to be there. So I hope that is bulletin board material in Ohio State, and they just they almost beat them last year, and Fields made it was a miscommunication between the receiver and Fields, and that's been on his mind all this year, waiting for a chance to get back at Clemson. And so here it is right here. I want to see this. Ice, give me your eye test, man.
Wow. It's going to be interesting for sure. First of all, the guy also throw out that impressive game by Liberty over Coastal Carolina. Yeah. That was huge. 37-34 in overtime. Coastal Carolina's been playing great ball all year long. But as we move forward in these playoffs, especially with the Notre Dame thing, Notre Dame brings eyes to the TV, right? So people are going to watch. Either they're going to watch them so they can think they're going to win, or they're going to watch them so they get blasted. Either way, it's kind of like you either love them or you hate them, but people turn on to watch that. So I think that's going to be interesting. You see where Alabama's going to really be ready for this. And then the Ohio State game is going to be very interesting as well because there's a lot of things on the line. Ohio State's defense is not what it was before last year. They've had some injuries and they've had some people out because of COVID, but everybody's had that. And now Dabo, of course, they took the L when they lost their quarterback. lost to Notre Dame. So there's a lot of significant factors in there to go from that standpoint. Looking forward to that. A couple other games too. I think we should be looking at bowl game wise just for entertainment purposes. We're looking at Florida versus Oklahoma because they've been punching up Florida for the longest time. That means Spencer Rattler versus Kyler Trask will be a very good game, and Oregon versus Iowa State, and of course Texas A&M versus North Carolina. I will have something to watch this week because it's been rough otherwise, unless I'm watching reruns of Westerns or something to that effect.
All right. Black Thor, give me your eye test on the any games you saw last week or this upcoming playoff.
I'll speak of the playoff, bro. I can't watch these put together bowl games. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know what I'm sorry, I'm Notre Dame head coach. I don't even want to say your name, bro, because I don't know what you're saying. Because you come off the shellacking that you just took from Clemson. They say you have nothing to prove. How about saying no? We're going to show how we deserve to be here. If anything, I respect that more. And you go out and play a hell of a game, even if you lose to Alabama. Say that I'm with you. But to say we got nothing to prove, no, you get ready to get your ass stomped. You should be proving something. Yeah, you belong in the top 4. And you don't. I mean, realistically, you don't, but there's nobody behind you should be in there. So even with that being said, I don't think you belong there. I'm hoping, too, that Ohio State can do something with Clemson. I don't think so, man. I think Clemson, to me, I'm not fond of what Dabo's saying, but he knows what his team is ready to do, bro. And he's going to prove it. It's just my opinion. He's going to prove it. I hope he does it, but he's going to prove it. It's going to come down to Clemson and Alabama again. I think this year Alabama might have it. I'm just thinking they might have it. But outside of that, it's not even really get excited for this weekend with them because to me, unless there's an upset, we're waiting for Alabama Clemson.
Yeah. But I just think that, Ohio State was close last year. They were close. They were close. And they got a hell of a running back. They have a hell of a team this year. And 6 games be damned. They deserve to be there. And I hope they prove it to Clemson. I really do. Because the way Dabo's been running his mouth for the last 2 years, like he belongs and he is entitled to being in the top 4 every year. And sometimes you need to be taken down a peg or two. And this is the time to do it. And all this junkie's been talking about Ohio State, maybe it's the year. Maybe it's the year. Let's move on to college basketball. And I just get a feeling that we were kind of robbed of the number 1 and number 2 teams going at each other. It's going to be a collision course, but maybe the basketball guys have said, you know what, we don't want to show you that game yet. We're going to make you guys kind of thirst for that game because, again, Gonzaga and Baylor are number 1, number 2. Kansas, we'll wait on that. But Gonzaga is number 1 and number 2, and it doesn't seem like anybody else is kind of even close, in my opinion. The way Gonzaga just picking off teams. They took a Virginia team that specialized in defense, and usually their games are around in the 50s, and scored at 98, 99 points on them. 98, 99 points. And this is a good Virginia team. It ain't no slouch. But they were like, we don't respect your defense. We're going to run you off the court. We're going to do what we want to do. We're not going to let you put us in a half-court game. We're just going to do what we do. Give me your eye test in college basketball, man.
Yeah, you might be in trouble when you look at a team that might have a 6'8" or a 6'9". You might even be 6'10" gentleman with a headband that hit 9 threes. You might have a problem.
Yeah.
There might be a problem for you. And that's what Gonzaga has. They're so loaded, and they have a solid point guard. The only thing that they have an issue with might be injuries, and they were very impressive in that win over Virginia. Also, too, Houston, even though they have a lot of COVID issues, has found ways to win. They were impressive with their win over Central Florida, 63-54. And the Big Ten is just up and down every week. Ohio State goes out, they beat Rutgers, right? Impressive with that win. And then they come back and they lose to Northwestern. Northwestern's made a move 71-70. I still like Illinois. my big Jamaican gentleman is getting in, but the other guard is nasty too. So they have a nice 1-2 punch at Illinois. They were impressive over Indiana. Wisconsin's very decent too. They had a win over Michigan State, and I'd be remiss if I didn't throw Minnesota. Minnesota's finding a way to win. They beat Iowa 102-95 in overtime. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
So it's a lot going on. As you mentioned Gonzaga earlier. If they do get to the tournament, I don't know, because not Rutgers, but the Dukes women's basketball team just shut their whole program down.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that. Yeah.
I was like, Lord have mercy. So I'm like, are we not going to get to March Madness after all? Or my question is, are they shutting it down because their teams are not any good this year? Anyway, that's up for debate. But it's been some hell of games. I just hope we get a chance to see them. My other thing, too, is real quick, if you think the season's going to get shut down and shorten the games, man. Shorten the season. And wait, let everybody get healthy. And then just have March Madness. Oh, that's right. You can't play just 6 games or 10 games because that's not enough games, right? Oh, damn. That's college football. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
I keep telling people to watch out for Northwestern, and they're popping team after team. They go up against Iowa tomorrow night. That I'm going to watch that game because Northwestern, Coach Collins has that team playing, and people aren't taking them seriously. Duke postponed their game against Pittsburgh, so that may be foreshadowing what the Duke men basketball program is going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. And of course, we mentioned last week that Coach K sent his team home for the holidays, so you never know. They may be home until next season. Minnesota is up on Michigan State. Michigan State's been taking it on the chin left and right also in the Big Ten. So they have dropped down 5 spots. They're ranked number 17th now. Duke should be out of the top 25. I predicted last week that North Carolina will be out of the top 25. They are out of the top 25. They're just not really good, solid teams in the ACC, not as in the years past. Ohio State dropped down, hoping that they can recover against Nebraska. Virginia Tech is still holding on to the 24. But you have, go to the top 10, Gonzaga, Baylor, Kansas, number 4, Villanova, Houston, Wisconsin, Tennessee is at number 7, Texas. They got some great play. They're going to be playing Saturday against Kansas. That should be a good game. They're number 8. Followed by West Virginia, who is going to be playing Northeastern, kind of a cupcake game. Calipari, they're not in the top 25, but Calipari was saying, hey, he was a kind of an idiot for how he scheduled his teams. It sounded like he was more so want to schedule cupcakes to give his guys confidence to play in the season so they can build up their confidence to win. Black, give me some thoughts about Calipari's comments about, hey, I scheduled it wrong. I should have schedule some more cupcakes at the beginning of the season to give our guys confidence. What does that say about his program and anything on the eye test of college basketball?
I think it's ironic, man, that you find Calipari and Coach K, 2 one-and-done coaches, don't have one-and-done players this year, and they can't coach. They blame their players, they blame anything else. But when you're a player, when you're a good coach, you coach the players that you have. But for the first time in a long time, neither one of those universities have one-and-done players that we're talking about. And that's the problem. I noticed Duke's girls basketball team, they canceled the whole season, bro. If I'm not correct. Yeah. They just pulled the plug, so they're not even playing. I did get a chance to watch a little bit of Gonzaga. And this is a question I'm going to throw off to you two gentlemen, because I know you two are watching it more than I am. But when you're watching it, do it feel like it's really college basketball at its full strength? Or I feel like something might be missing? Because I'm watching the game, I felt like there's something a little missing. And I'm not saying because I ain't watched a lot this year, but it just seemed like it wasn't that full strength, full tilt, full energy college basketball.
Ice, you want to take that first? Because I have a quick answer to that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I just think Gonzaga's that damn good. I'm serious. Okay. I really believe that. And I've watched some other teams, and maybe because everybody's talking about the lack of no audience and whatnot, stuff like that too. Yeah. But I know 2 teams, and maybe The other teams are not coming to play. They're out on their mind. Two teams that are ready to play, and they might as well play them. Let them play the finals right now. That's Gonzaga and Baylor.
Yeah.
They are ready. They are ready. They're like, put us in, coach. They are ready to play. They've had some COVID issues too. It's like, let us play, please.
Yeah, I think the only thing we're missing in college basketball, because Gonzaga and Baylor are the truth, is the crowd, the excitement of the crowd, the college atmosphere, folks rooting for their team. That crowd element is pretty much missing in college basketball. But if you watch Gonzaga play, it don't matter whether the crowd's there or not. They are hooping. they are hooping, man, and they're doing it with upperclassmen and folks that are freshmen and sophomore. They got an incredible mix. They got big guys that can play stretch. They're all over the court. If you're coming in there with a big man that they got a guard, they're making that big man work. They're making him work because they are running motion offenses. They are getting up in you in defense. And Suggs is the truth. Suggs is the truth. I hope, you would love to see him in the pros, but I hope he stays, as long as he can at Gonzaga, because I enjoy watching him play. He is the truth. So, like I said earlier in this segment, it's almost like we were deprived of the 1 and 2 with Baylor and Gonzaga, because I think that's what people want to see, because those are the two best teams that I've seen this year, and they go after each other, and I would love to see them go after it. But if they had to stop the season and say, okay, just number 1 and 2, who's going to win the championship? We're not going to have a March Madness. We're just going to have a big game for number 1 and number 2 in Baylor. I'd be happy with seeing Baylor going up against Gonzaga to see who is the national champion, because those two teams, like I said, they're ready to go. They are ready to go. And it's like it's sad that we had COVID and we didn't have the crowds and everybody kind of playing their full schedule, but it doesn't matter to me. These teams, what I've seen these teams do with the opponents they had in front of them, you're telling me a Virginia team that specializes on defense and you score 40 points over the average that they keep people under? Nah. They're ready. They're ready. Any other thoughts, Black?
No, that covers it for me, boss. That covers it.
All right. Let's go back to the Urban Meyer story that you brought up, Black, about Urban Meyer. I know you sent us a story about Urban Meyer. Give me your thoughts, and then me and Ice will respond.
I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised, because I said this earlier. I'm not sure if he's going to get a job, but they say there are teams out there looking to bring him in. I know one thing, bro. This cat is more injured. It seems like whenever he doesn't want to coach, my heart or something going on, then he kind of goes back. He's like a $6 million man. They kind of fix him up. He starts coaching again. But I'm not sure if he's going to get a job. I think he's going to get a look at. I think Riley out of Oklahoma is going to be the guy that steps in the NFL. But it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a job. It would not surprise me, because I think people are looking now that these coaches in the college ranks, some of them, not all of them, are preparing these young men to step into the NFL and be ready. And he has sent, you think about some of the players he sent to the NFL and they were ready. You look at Lincoln Riley, man. So I'm not surprised that they're looking around, because to me, I think some of these general managers, these owners, are tired of the retreads. They're tired of going back to the retreads and pulling names up. And let's figure, man, he is connected to the NFL in more ways than none. He's a big, him and what's the name, him and the coach in New England, Belichick, are connected by the hip, bro. So they believe in some of Belichick has rubbed off on him. He's had a chance to rest a little bit. So it wouldn't be surprising that he steps on the sideline. It kind of took me a little surprise when I saw the article, but I started thinking, I was like, no, why should I be surprised? I think he might step on. I wouldn't be surprised if he steps on a team, realistically, that is not a team that's losing bad. Case in point, Dallas Cowboys. I just don't see, even though Cowboys starting to win, I don't see that coach being in next year.
I know Coach Urban Meyer came off scandal a couple of years ago. That scene has died down, and it seemed like we kind of predicted that he'll step away for a while, things will die down, and then his name would start coming up for coaching jobs, either in college or in the NFL. Your thoughts about him coming back and NFL teams being interested in it?
Well, I can see why, teams will be interested, because when he's available and he's ready to coach, he's dynamic, and he always brings quality staffs with him as well. So he kind of is the type of guy that mentors and brings some top people on. You think about it from the standpoint of one of your favorite guys, Greg Schiano, was having issues, and people were dogging him when he went to the pros, and then he needed to heal up and put a couple Band-Aids on. Where he end up? He ends up in Columbus as a defensive coordinator. Now he's turning Rutgers around again, right? So Rutgers is winning football games. So Urban Meyer is able to do that. But in regards to him taking the job, one, he doesn't need a job. So it's going to take a special job for him to go. Dallas Cowboys, definitely. He's already said that, and I know it's kind of far-fetched, but even when they were going through their initial hiring process and looking at him, that's a job that it's one of those jobs you can't say no to. You have to talk to him because that's how much respect he has for them. Other than that, it would have to be a very special situation for him to come out, because I really do think, and I'm not saying he's sick or anything, but his wife knows the stress that he goes through and this stuff, how much stress he puts on himself. So to jump back out there, it's going to have to be a very special situation, college situation too. Even though Texas was talking about it, I said there's no way in hell, because he doesn't need to. I mean, the two jobs that he said he might have been interested in before leaving Florida, after leaving Florida, was Ohio State and Notre Dame. And Ohio State just before the legacy part. He wanted to be like Woody. He was under Woody as a grad assistant. I'm under the tutelage of Woody and Woody's folks. So he wanted to do that, and he won the national championship. But I just think it would take something very special for him to come out of retirement, because he lives in La Vida Loca here in Columbus, Ohio. I don't know if y'all know that, but he's sitting up there. He's on the Memorial Golf Course, which has Moorfield Village every year with Jack Nicklaus and everything like that. Plus, too, he has his own restaurant bar, and it's packed when people are available. And he's on Fox. What else you need to do? You can talk about football all day long, wear a suit and tie, not get frustrated, go home, eat some beignets and some nuts, and drink a little bit, and then not get stressed. And you can say anything you want to anybody. Man, why would you want the pressure of the job? The job is crazy. The job, and he doesn't know how to. It's kind of like Mike Tyson fighting. He does not know how to go halfway. He don't know how to. He don't know how to do no exhibition, right? He don't know how to do no exhibition. So he's all in. He can't help himself. But with that being said, and the other question I would ask is, how are you gonna get that past his wife? His wife was like, nah. The only reason why they really took the Ohio State job is they're from Ohio and she wanted to come home. And that was easy sell for her if he was going to do it. But to go out to Arizona or go to Jacksonville, I know it's another legacy thing, but all I'm going to just say this, and I might be totally off base, but I saw that man bending over when they played Maryland in the last time he coached college football. And I swear, I thought he was going to have a damn heart attack. I promise you. When I looked, and maybe it's his own stress or whatever, but I thought that man could have just keeled over and died. So if he wants to do it, more power to you. Kind of like Mike Tyson. Do what you do. But I hope you make a solid decision, and it makes sense for why they're interested in it.
Can I say something real quick, Puma, if you don't mind?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping I'm wrong with this, man. But I'm going to tell you this, Ice. When I saw him bend over, I thought a little bit that was play, bro. And I'm going to tell you why. He knew his days when Ohio State was numbered. So you kind of play up like, I'm not 100%. It's part of the reason I'm stepping down. It's kind of a show. And that's why I took it. Because to me, if he was really feeling that, roll a damn gurney out there, get him off the field, bro. I'm sorry. as any medical professional, get him off the field. So I'll say this. Dallas Cowboys come with a wad of money with that offense, and Zeke there, he's going to buy his wife a new house, new Lamborghini, new Bentley, whatever it takes. He's going to be back on the field, bro, because it's inside of his blood. That's what it is. Sitting on Fox, he's not happy, bro. He's not cut for that. That's temporary. That's something that's holding down the plate for the time being. He's more excited. He's at home when he's walking up and down that sideline, bro. And there's no way you tell me if Jerry Jones takes a big suitcase of money and say, I'll get out of the way. You come down here and take this, please. He's going to be down there in a heartbeat. and she be standing aside him in the press conference smiling. I'm here to tell you, bro. It's what happens. It's what happens. It's just what happens. I mean, you didn't think Mike Tyson was going to fight.
I mean, I just hope he didn't fight, but after I saw the exhibition, there was no way he was going to get hurt. So that was cool. And I did mention that Dallas, he would take the Dallas job.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anything else, there's nothing worthwhile because, one, he wants to win, and there's nothing prestigious enough about any other organization. I mean, name another organization that you want to coach. It's not, I'm just saying, there's nothing there. Dallas has always been Dallas. And when Jerry Jones talk, and you ever been in that stadium? Man, with all of the stuff surrounding it, and if they win again, oh my God, they win again, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I know they call whatever it is because Jerry Jones does whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it. I wouldn't be surprised they done talked already, bro. I wouldn't be surprised they done had dinner and talked already. But they can't come out and say it right now. But I would not be surprised that's something in the making. I'm here to tell you. And like you said, you go to the Dallas Cowboys organization and you bring them a Super Bowl, please. Please. Come on.
Don't look now, but another name that's resurfacing for possible coaching jobs is Marvin Lewis. There are teams outreaching to Marvin Lewis.
Talk to him. Texas, why are you talking to him? Why? Come on, bro. What is? Tell everybody regress. I'm serious. Marvin's a retread. Why?
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, man.
You better I'm talking to Puma. Call Puma. He's available. Talk to him.
He's a nice guy, and he's cheap.
I'm cheap too. Before we go to Casey Jones, Ice, I wanted to mention real quick on Major League Baseball tip. Why would the Rays trade their ace player? Is there something wrong going on with this player where they're saying, you know what, we got to get rid of him and trading him to the San Diego Padres?
I'll just say this. It might come back to bite them, right? But when you watch the postseason, I know you really cannot judge a player on one series or maybe 1 year, but he struggled. You can see he kind of became unraveled, right? And depending on whether or not he would command a large amount of money on the back end, you have to ask yourself, is this going to be the guy that's going to get us through? I mean, what comes to mind is trying to think. What is the is it Greinke with who's the Dodgers ace? Not Greinke. What's the Dodgers ace?
Kershaw.
Yeah, Kershaw. Right. So you remember we've been waiting for 10 years for Kershaw to finally
right.
Stuck with him. I think if the money's too big, and Tampa is always known to be a small market team, right?
Yeah.
So they'll spend a lot of money. I'm not sure if they think it's worth it to put all the eggs in one basket. The guy was phenomenal. He was Cy Young young winner, but at times in the postseason he kind of showed a little And considering that when you saw the bats they had, right? When you saw the bats and what they were doing, maybe they feel it's better to let him go, get some talent, young talent, get some more picks, and get some more money and build that way.
All right. Black Thor, I'm going to come at you with this story. Casey Jones passes away, known as one of the coaches and players for the Boston Celtics. Any words about Casey Jones and his passing and his legacy?
I'm sorry to say this now. I didn't say it before, man, because I didn't admire him as a head coach that he was because he was coaching Boston Celtics. And that was based on the Celtics' previous history. So I kind of, in a way, looked at him in a disservice way. And I'm shameful to say that because this cat coached some of the best players that we ever seen play the basketball game, regardless of where they were. And you think sometimes when we see people that look like us in those positions, we start to think things about them because what they're doing and they not be doing it in the place where we want them to be doing in, and we prejudge. And that's what I did about him, man. I apologize to him. I know it's late, But I respect what he did when he was basically playing for the Celtics and when he coached them, man. I mean, that team didn't basically not run by itself; it ran by him. And hey, I wish him nothing but the best to rest in peace. And again, I apologize, sir, for not basically respecting and valuing enough when you was doing what you was doing.
Yeah, and I think a number of us could say the same thing. Ice Water, your words about Casey Jones.
Yeah, and it's no, I mean, it's not really a bad thing. I mean, Black Thor, you're not the only person that would say that about Casey Jones. Was a hell of a player back in the day, which was hard for a lot of people to accept Boston because of the stuff that was going on, that Bill Russell and so many others had to go through. But the one thing about Casey Jones is he learned a lot from being under the tutelage of the Red Auerbachs and whatnot, and he ran with it. And not only did he run with it, he showed you that it didn't matter. He wasn't just a token, right? When they put him in that position, a lot of people thought he was just going to be a token brother. They're trying to break try to break that mold, and he was going to eventually falter. He did not do that. He came through, was a hell of a coach, great player, hell of a coach. I remember back in the day watching basketball when I first started watching NBA basketball, and you had a guy like Casey Jones, and you had the great Al Ados, who was coaching back then in the day in the finals. And a lot of people forget those guys because they were pioneers. And to be able to take over and run the Boston Celtic franchise for years as a quality coach, when you know how people are looking at you, and they definitely look at you because you color your skin, and you succeed, rest in peace, sir. He was definitely a quality gentleman. He was a great man, and he played on one of the greatest teams, greatest franchise ever. They won a lot of games, and he continued his greatness and his legacy when he coached.
Yeah, let me run down some of his numbers as a coach and player. He's 8-time NBA champion from 1959 to 1966. His number was retired, number 25 in the Raptors of the Boston Celtics. 2-time NCAA champion, 1955 and 1956. Consensus second team All-American, 1956. They retired his number at the San Francisco Dons, where the great Bill Russell played also. A 2-time assistant coach, NBA champion, 72 and 1981. As a coach, he was a 2-time NBA champion for those rivalries with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics in 84 and 86. A 5-time NBA All-Star game coach, 1975, 1984 through 1987. Just a guy that I know, and Black and you spoke about it eloquently, that, a lot of people that we grew up around didn't like the Boston Celtics. So if you didn't like the Boston Celtics, you didn't really kind of hover around Casey Jones. But you got to respect what he did with those teams with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and all those guys, able to coach those personalities and still rival the Lakers during that time with Magic Johnson and Jabbar and all those other folks, and kept that Laker-Celtic rivalry going. Learned a lot, not only under the tutelage of Red Auerbach, but Bill Russell, who coached the Boston Celtics also. And it's a touching little article, statement by Bill Russell about his roommate, teammate, and his friend, Casey Jones. So rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. We're going to go to Phil NEKRO, Ice, who, and I always marveled at folks who could throw the knuckleball, because my dad was coaching teams, young guys in North Carolina for a number of years. And what my dad knew how to do is throw a knuckleball. And I remember trying to get behind the plate and try to hit somebody else's knuckleball. But when my dad would throw the knuckleball, I would stand by and just watch. And him kind of trying to teach me how to throw a knuckleball. It's like one of those pitches you really can't hit. But Phil NEKRO was kind of the master of that. Give us some words about Phil NEKRO.
Yeah, when you think about the NEKRO brothers, Phil and Joe, they were dynamite. And they were allowed to pitch back in the day where the ball was scuffed. He had that splitter, he had the knuckler, and he also might have had that spitter too as well. Anyway, we won't talk about that. But they had a way to master throwing the baseball. And Phil NEKRO was just solid. He wasn't the fastest pitcher as far as speed was concerned, but he had velocity. He knew how to place it. Kind of reminds you of a old school Greg Maddux, right? He just always found a way to move that ball, and he had great location. He knew where to place the ball, and that's what made him great, because there were some great batters. It's not like it was in modern day where you can wear a bunch of armor, guys getting in, they can protect themselves and never had to worry about getting hit by the ball. But they had great batters, and the pitchers had to be great as well. So kudos to him. May he rest in peace. Still one of the best. And you think about the old school Atlanta Braves. Even though they weren't like big time champions or anything like that, they still had to find a ways to win ball games. And he always was considered an ace in baseball.
Want any part of this, Black?
No. I think I said it all that I would probably have came out and said.
Okay, let me give you some of his career highlights. 5-time All-Star, 5-time Golden Gloves. He received the Roberto Clemente Award, which is a high esteemed award in 1980. 2-time NL wins leader, MLB ERA leader in 1967, National League strikeout leader in 1977, pitched a no-hitter in 1973. His number was retired with the Atlanta Braves, and he's in the Braves Hall of Fame. And I think a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and inducted in 1997. So rest in peace to him also. Also rest in peace to the young man from Utah, the football player, the freshman, who accidentally shot himself over the holidays. And prayers to him and his family. Any one of you can step up and talk about this if you heard this story.
No, I heard the story. I didn't realize that he shot himself. Wow, that sinks it too.
Accidentally. They say, yeah.
Yeah. I will say this though, we failed to mention Tommy Heinsohn.
Yes.
Also from the Boston Celtics, man, and there's another one that was there from the Celtics that passed recently.
Yeah. Ice, any thoughts?
Yeah, it's just really sad, man. And I mean, you have the right to bear arms, of course, but you just never know how things like this happen. And such a young man who had great potential. I think he was all conference as a freshman. There's a great upside to this young man. He had his life turned around, my understanding, getting away from what was going on around him. And then to have this happen this way, have his life snuffed out so quickly, is just really tragic. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Let's move on to the NBA. Black, I was teasing one of my favorite people, Malika Edwards, on Twitter, because she was announcing that KD is out for tonight due to injury. And I'm like, was it the dunk from Rozier? Is that too soon to mention that? Because Rozier had a nasty dunk over KD last night that would put me on the injury list. So I don't know if that was the thing that put him on the injury list. But give me your eye test on the NBA this week.
It's interesting because there's some teams that you can kind of think of, make a little splash, make a little noise. I mean, look at Orlando Magic. I mean, Cleveland is playing well. So there's some teams that we kind of forgot about. I'm happy to see it because I was just saying to myself a little while ago, if anything I want out of this NBA season, I'm going to turn the TV on one night and not watch maybe the Lakers or maybe Brooklyn Nets play and see a good game. That's all I want, bro. That's all I'm asking for if I can get that. But I got to go to the Clippers, man, and losing. I hope I'm not jumping ahead of the game. But there's no way to me that you have one player that doesn't play and you lose by 50 points? I'm saying right now, I can't think of the name of the owner of the Clippers, but I'll be damned if I wouldn't walk to my office after that game, took that contract I just signed with Paul George, and ripped that motherfucker in half. If he can't give you, we look at Jimmy Butler play the Lakers and went for 40-some-odd points. If all Paul George can give you is 15 points in a game where there's no Kawhi Leonard, what the hell are you paying him for? What are you paying him for? I don't want to hear about Max, whatever. And there's another Max player, man. I'm tired of. I'm super tired of this cat, the Greek freak. He ain't freaking nothing, and I don't know where he's Greek from. This brother here, to me, is starting to be seriously be overrated. I watched him play a little. I forgot the team that was playing, so forgive me. But he could tie the game up. He go to the foul line, boom, off the rim. So I'm looking at these players. Now you got a max contract. You can't shoot outside. You have no low post game. You can't make free throws. They can't go to you in the clutch. What are they paying you max money for, bro? I'm not trying to, I know there's something I know what you're mad for, but maybe turn into it. But I'm tired of these cats, even Dwayne Haskins. I'm tired of these young brothers getting the opportunities of a lifetime and damn near pissing away. Improve your craft. Do better. Just stop taking the money and run. I know it's a lot of money, but we got to do better, bro. Because at some point, it's going to sound strange to say, at some point we see it in baseball. They're going to find people that don't look like you that could do just as good as you, and you're not going to be playing that game anymore.
I got another theory that I'm going to bring out in the questions that I want you to ponder. I threw it past a couple of friends, and they were like, whoa, I never ever thought about that. Your eye test on the NBA, man.
Yeah, it's early. I mean, so it is what it is, but it's ironic because, you know, you had the Lakers doing what they're doing, trying to come back. Clippers win their first 2 games. They lose the third one, get blowed out dramatically. Leonard is get busted up by his own teammate, 8 stitches in the mouth. So Dallas tried to come back after they lost to LA. Then you turn around and Milwaukee goes and plays New York Knicks and they get beat by the Knicks. So it's all over the place. You see the Brooklyn Nets lose. And I think it's going to be all over the place. I do like I like Phoenix. I do. I said that from the beginning. I like the way that they're playing. They're going to come together. I think they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. Denver, of course, is just Denver. Denver's tough, man. Denver, and now that they have Bynum back, Will Bynum, or the Bynum, or the guard. Is that his name? Is that the name?
From Utah?
No, I'm sorry, for Denver.
Denver?
Yeah, the guard. I think it's Bynum. But however, the guard that they have back that was injured, it came off the injury list. He's playing well, and I like the way that they play. I think it's going to be a lot more things going on. Again, I will agree with Black Thor, which is not often, but about Milwaukee. I have to tell you that early on, they don't have enough pieces, man. And oh boy, the Greek Freak is playing, but you can't do that by yourself. You, Middleton, and Holiday is not going to be enough. So it'll be interesting. I think down the line, the team to watch out for, I'm not sure how far they'll go, but as long as they'll make any trades, is Indiana. I like it. So Bonus is playing hard basketball. And collectively, you get Oladipo going, Brogdon, they got a lot going on over there. So I think it's going to be a very early game and to kind of see how early season, how the games are going to be played. But it's a long season, but it's going to be a lot more competitive. And last but not least, Golden State, you might have didn't know it, but you got lucky and you got blessed. That James White is going to be special, man. He can play, bro. He just young. He's going to be a force down the line.
Yeah, I watched that game last night against the Bulls, and they squeaked it out. Steph Curry's brother-in-law hit the last winning shot to put them over. I didn't know he had a brother-in-law on the team. Lee hit the last shot to put them up, a three-point shot. I think it was designed for Curry, but he was wide open, and he took it, and he knocked it down. And you would thought they won the NBA championship just to get a win because they're depleted. And I kind of see if Draymond doesn't come back and then they kind of put something together, that this may be another rebuilding year to get those guys ready for next year. You could see Clay's value to that team. You can really see his value to that team because Wiggins and Abreu, or I always mispronounce his name. They don't even they're not kind of bringing up those numbers to even equal Thompson's absence. So unless they get those two guys together to play to their potential, I just can't see it. And it's kind of hard. This is what I want to bring up to you too. I brought up to a couple of my buddies, and they were like, "Man, I didn't even think about that." All these max contracts, it seemed like the NBA just throwing money at different players, and I mean, just some ungodly amounts of numbers. And they're not getting fans in the stands. They're not getting the arena money and all the other money, and it's just pretty much coming from advertising. Do you foresee the NBA getting to a point where it says, you know what, we can't pay these salaries, we're going to go bankrupt, and got to renegotiate these contracts with these max players? Black?
I didn't look at it like that, but I will say this though: NBA is losing a lot of money, man. They're losing a lot. I think they hate to say this, but I think they made a mistake in when they negotiated these contracts to allow players to have max contracts, man. And because it should be, I know a team can spend money the way they want to, but it should be something you earn. It should not be you've been there for a certain period of time and you get it. And I know it's going to be hard to do that, but to say they're going to go bankrupt and that happens, bro, if they go bankrupt, they're not going to be playing. So they ain't got to worry about the contracts. So they might do away with it because it's their ratings were down before. And I didn't hear how the ratings were on Christmas Day. I don't know if you two gentlemen heard or people tuning in and watch, but I find it hard, man. It's just me. I find it hard to watch 4 quarters of basketball. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because you know a team's gonna have a run, they're gonna come down, or it's hard to sit there. And maybe part of it, because I'm old school, I'm an older gentleman, to where I grew up watching better basketball. Whatever it is. And I think the biggest thing about the NBA that this is where to me they really are in trouble. The younger generation is not paying attention to them anymore, bro. The younger cats, the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds. We talk about basketball much more than they talk about basketball. They ain't talking about it. So if you don't have them, and then we find it hard to really pay attention, who's their audience? Who's their audience? Where's their audience? Where's their foundation? Because LeBron is going to be around for another year or two. What is their foundation to continue into the future?
I've been thinking about this for a few months. I was thinking about it in a bubble, but I didn't say it until a buddy of mine asked me about it the other night on the phone. I said I wouldn't be surprised if the way the NBA is losing so much money that all these contracts they're throwing out, they get to a point where they say we can't pay these players, so we're going to have to renegotiate these contracts. And I wouldn't be surprised if they declare bankruptcy just to get out of these contracts based on all the millions and billions that they're losing. With the fans not being there, maybe merchandise is selling. I'm not sure. I know that Christmas Day, I didn't watch most of the games because when they appeared to be blowouts, I just turned to something else. I wasn't going to watch a blowout. There's a guy on my Twitter who covers Oregon sports and the Portland Trailblazers, and he was saying, "Hey, man, all these games are blowouts," and I'm like, "This is a horrible experiment right now. Putting them on, no preseason, not getting them prepared to play, and it's a sloppy brand of basketball." Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, the last year when they were in the bubble, because the games were cut down and then they didn't have the crowds in attendance, they were at to restructure the salary cap, and then also how much money they spent or they paid the players, simply because of the factor that they weren't making the money. So players had to take a pay cut. And even with these max contracts, I think you're going to see the same thing coming up because if they're not allowed to have fans are, the gate makes a lot of money for them from the standpoint of when people show up or just buying season tickets, right? So that's part of it, along with the TV money. So I think that they will renegotiate again, and they'll just have to tell the players flat out. It's kind of like they told the baseball players, "We're not making no money. You can't get all that money." So that means you only get a portion of your salary, even if you are a max contract guy. You're not getting all your money. And I don't think they'll go bankrupt though. Nah, they selling too many 2K games, bro. They ain't doing nothing else. They selling 2K video games. That we know they selling. They selling them like high cases. Kids would rather play 2K than watch a basketball game. But again, it's coming back into the whole pot of them getting their money. So they'll throw another one out there. They're going to keep throwing games out there. So as long as the players are relevant, I don't think they'll go bankrupt. I do think they will continue to renegotiate, and players will just have to adjust accordingly. They may not like it, but as a collective, when you think about the collective bargaining agreement in the union, everybody has to cut. And that means the money's not coming in, then you're going to have to learn how to take care of yourself, calm down a little bit, quit being lavish so much, and get your 7-bedroom condo next year. But I think that's what it's going to come down to. I do not think they will go bankrupt. I do think they will adjust accordingly. And that's how it's going to be. Because also, too, players can get mad and say whatever they want to about not getting all their money. But then there's always that other option of not playing.
Yeah.
And the NBA is more of a player league than anything. And those guys love their money. You got the NFL love their money. Basketball love their money. So they're going to adjust accordingly because they got a lot of people to take care of. I'm not going to say that C word. I'm going to leave that right there. But there's a lot going on. So you got to keep the money rolling, bro. Anyway.
Black, when I wasn't watching the games, I just put my 2K19 on, and my Knicks with me at point guard won the NBA championship, 16-2. It's more exciting to do that way than watch some of these games.
I said this before the pandemic kicked in, when they were losing viewers, and there were a lot of places where basketball was being played. They weren't having a lot of people in attendance, bro. This is before the pandemic. I remember watching Houston Rocket game, and think about Houston Rocket at that time. This is a year before. They were balling, bro. Nobody was there. San Antonio, nobody there. These are hot places. These aren't places where it's cold. You got to go outside. No one there. Miami, no one there. I mean, and then sad to say, only franchise, one of the major franchises that was selling out every night, New York Knicks, bro, because it's more of like an entertainment type of thing. But you think about that before the pandemic, and then you look at everything that's just transferred. How are they gonna keep going? Where's that money coming from? Where, bro? You're right. And at some point, if the ratings will keep going down, TV's going to restructure. They're going to restructure these deals. Hey, we got to call you in and do a little restructuring because nobody's watching. Because advertisers are going to start pulling and want to start paying less for advertising. Hey, bro, they're in trouble. Like I said, they are in trouble.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to questions from the squad. Ice, what's your first question?
My question is, do you think that that's a trend as far as, I'm going to go right there. Duke, it just really surprised me. Duke women's basketball team shut down their season. Do you think this is something that's going to continue on? Other teams are going to do the same thing? Or is it more likely that the majority of the schools will press on?
Black, let's see where you take this one.
I think majority of schools are going to press on, bro. I mean, maybe not in women's, but I think in college, man, because at this point now, you don't want to be the team that seemed like you went out. And it's sad to say that. You don't want to be the team like, you know what, we didn't stand up in battle and we went out. And we saw what happened to the Big Ten in football when they said, hey, we're not being part of this for XYZ reasons, right? You saw the uproar, bro. So you tell me what university wants to face that? It's what it is. What college president wants to deal with that? So it's like, let them go out there, let them play. Let them just go play. And there's a money factor too. What college university at this point right now is going to forgive and walk away from money that could be coming in for the right thing? None.
I think it has to be something really major for the rest of the schools to kind of fold at this particular point. Because remember last year when the pandemic hit, and now they got another strain that they said that's coming out. When the pandemic hit, it was the NBA and college basketball was trying to hold on for dear life. And I think they felt the pressure to succumb to that pressure of just calling the season. So I think if something really kind of tragic happens in other sports, like the NFL in the playoffs or in the NBA as the season emerges, you already see it with Houston and some of the other teams that are having issues with this, where they say, okay, we're going to shut down the season. Then college basketball, I think, will do it wholeheartedly. But I don't think it was a coincidence that Coach K sent his players home and they come back after the holidays and they start testing positive. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke shuts it down for the season. I wouldn't be surprised. Will other teams do that with a big program like Duke doing it? I'm not sure, but I think they will shut it down before anybody else. Your thoughts, Ice?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be difficult. I mean, some teams probably will want to shut it down because they're losing. And I hate to say that's a reason why you would shut down instead of really being concerned about the students. We already know the answer to that, right? But I pondered this question and I asked myself, do you, and no disrespect to her because I think she wants to win, but when you know your team is going to be pretty good and you got an opportunity to win, do you think Don Staley at South Carolina is going to shut her program down when they, with the way they roll right now? She going to say, I'm going to need 2 strings of that vaccine. You know, we're going to get those every day if we had to. If we got to quarantine somebody, we quarantine. But she is moving full steam ahead, along with Stanford, who's playing real well right now.
Mm-hmm.
Connecticut is, of course, going to be in the mix. You think, like, well, I don't think we're going to be able to move forward. Hell no. She's not going to be like, I want to play South Carolina. I think we can beat them. It's always something. So you have to ask yourself, what are these coaches motivated by? And now that the vaccine's coming out, man, please. I'm trying to tell you, we can get tested every day. And then we can go and get people the vaccine if they need it. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna move back. And we know the men's basketball programs are not. I don't think they're going backwards. I said I think the reason why they're gonna move forward, if you can't have people come to the games, they're gonna give you a $59.99 package, pay-per-view, all the games you can watch, all of the games lined up for you, baby. Everything you want to see, get the popcorn ready. $59.99 pay-per-view. There you go. That can look and
Hopefully
look.
they'll have it on the Fire Stick.
Look. $59.99. And guess what, Puma? You can add that on to your $35 for your new NBA 2K. So
well, I hope they have it on the Fire Stick because brother will be looking for it on the Fire Stick. Black, what's your question?
This is an interesting question as I'm concerned. Daryl Morey just got the name, if it doesn't register with you. He used to be the vice president of Houston Rockets. Now he's the vice president of the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, remember a year ago what he said about China and cost the NBA so many millions of dollars, and LeBron lost his mind. And basically, he got fined $50,000 just recently by the NBA, putting a tweet out, I guess, saying something about Harden. Here's the question, man. It may not even be sports related, but I'm wondering. You figure he wasn't unemployed that long when he walked away from Houston. And not like he did anything great with Houston, but did a decent job, a good job. Let's say good. If Daryl Morey was black, would he still be employed in the NBA circle?
Ice?
Wow, that's a very difficult question. Perhaps not, but if he would, the question is, and why Philadelphia has him there is because they are so desperate to win. And unfortunately, Elton Brand has not been able to move the needle as far as the organization is concerned. And Morey, one thing or nothing, he can attract talent. And James Harden loved him. But it might be very difficult for him if he was a brother to get another chance. Ask Mike Brown. Mike Brown got a couple contracts, so he's good too. So you just had to ask yourself. It may be very difficult, particularly when his so-called fault with the whole China situation was really over the top. And when LeBron James starts squawking and screaming, because that's where his money is right now, and along with Durant and other people, that's where they're making their money. They don't want that messed up. Then you might have a problem. But the way it's going now, probably not. But we're used to that, right?
Yeah, I think it would have been more difficult for him to land a job. It's just that way with black folks in sports, and until we get into ownership, then it's going to continue to be that way, in my opinion. But yeah, I think he would have had more of a difficult time, or he would have to kind of work his way back up to the ladder with teams that would give him a chance to come back from that, because that was a big blow financially to the NBA. And so, if to me, and I have to be honest, if you're white, you get another shot to, especially because you probably have those relationships or can slide into different situations. But when you're black, it's almost like you get one shot. And once you blow that shot, that's it for you. That's it. Black, your thoughts?
I mean, I've thought twice about putting the question out there and making it a black or white issue. But when you looked at what he cost the NBA, just think about that for a second, bro. This is not what he cost the Houston Rockets. What he cost the NBA. And he's able to basically, for the most part, get fired from his job. I mean, they made it seem like, we're letting him go. And within days, another franchise. Days. Just act like that didn't happen. In the NBA, none of the owners, we know how the NFL owners feel about certain things. And none of the NBA owners said, nah. No, I would answer the question and say yes. If he was black, he would have not got rehired that quickly. Not in a matter of 28 hours, 72 hours. It might have been 72 months.
Yeah. All right, Ice, give me your last second shot, man.
All right. Wow, we got a lot going on. Last second shot. I wasn't gonna say it because we don't have "Are you mad, son?" that kind of thing. So I'm gonna put that out there.
We can do that at the end of the segment. We can do
All
it.
right.
Are you mad, son?
I'm gonna do this one real quick. Dabo Swinney, I looked at your rankings, bro. And even if you think you're gonna win this and you might win it, all I'm saying is number 1, Alabama, number 2, Clemson, number 3, Notre Dame, number 4, Texas A&M, 8-1, number 5, Florida, 8-3, number 6, Georgia, 7-2, number 7, Cincinnati, 9-0. Think about that. Number 8, Oklahoma, 8-2. Number 9, Iowa State, 8-3. Number 10, Coastal Carolina, 11-1. And number 11, Ohio State guys, 6-0. Number 12, UNC, 8-3. So I guess if you lose 2 or 3 games, as long as you play 10 or 9, you're good, right? Okay. I thought it was about the quality and the value of the work, depending on the games that you played. But I guess it's the number of games that really matter. Even if you play 11 games and you lose 3. But that's your call, bro. They're going to holler at you on Friday, bro. Take care.
He should have his coaching voting taken away from that for that junk. Black Thor, your last second shot.
I'll say this, man. We've seen what COVID did to a lot of different things throughout this country in the past several months. And I think sometimes we don't really focus on what it did to sports, bro. Because I don't think sports is valued in this country as it once was. And I think we're going to see that in 2021.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Last second shot goes out to KC Jones and all the folks at Boston. And sometimes as sports fans, we get so wrapped up in how we kind of look at teams and how we don't like certain players and coaches. But we need to get past that. It's only a game. And we need to give out roses to people while they're still here. And so KC Jones, I know for me, and Black mentioned it early on in the show, that was a lesson to me to appreciate what folks do. Regardless of what team you root for, appreciate what folks do in their heyday. And rest in peace, sir. And sorry we're giving you your flowers too late, but to his family, to the Boston Celtics, our condolences. That's going to do it for our show. Make sure you catch us on our NFL picks. The races are getting real tight. I think Pop and Ice are going to be tied. Pop's been holding on to that 1-game lead for all this time. This week 17 is going to be a monster. Black is catching up. Me and him are fighting. Who's going to be in last place? Who's catching third? So it's going to be real tight. You want to stay tuned because there are going to be some crazy things happening in week 17 where folks are going to be rested players. Games are going to look crazy. I'm going to take my sheet and just throw it out the window, I think, after 3 o'clock in the 1 o'clock game. So stay tuned. You want to stay tuned because this has been the tightest that these races have been in a long, long time. So we'll see you Wednesday on the NFL picks. Privilege is a monster, man, with Chip Kelly and them. I mean, he got to know that they hadn't earned their way into the playoffs. And for him to come out and say, we're there every year, it just goes right back to weeks ago we talked about participation awards. And what makes these kids so soft now is that they're just willing to participate now. It's not the standard of Notre Dame to win championships. We just want to be there. What kind of he shouldn't even open it. I said years ago they should have fired him and brought somebody else. But if they're just happy to be there, privilege is a mother, man. It's a mother, man. I couldn't believe he opened his mouth after he thinks it's almost like he thinks we're stupid that we forgot about the Clemson shellacking they got a couple of weeks ago. And he's walking in, we don't have anything to prove. Yeah, you got a lot to prove because there are other teams that could have been stepping into that spot that, really earned it. And I wouldn't be, if I was Oklahoma and some of those coaches, I'd go to the NFL, man, because you're not going to get a shot in college to play for a championship. So why sit there and keep, winning year after year after year, and you're not going to be selected as a number 4. So if I was an Oklahoma coach, if I was some of those coaches that every year, our team is playing their ass off and worthy of being in a playoff system and worthy of playing for number 1, and we can't get there, bump this. I'm going to the NFL where I have an equal shot with other teams to get to the Super Bowl or get to the playoffs.
I will say this, though, man, about that. Next year, this is kind of a kooky year in college football, in my opinion. The mere fact they're in the ACC now, bro, they're not going to be there every year anymore. They're not. They're really not. ACC is getting better. We got North Carolina going to be better next year. Clemson's going to be a little, going to be tighter. They're playing better competition now. That statement's going to come back to haunt him. It really is, because he's going to take a shellacking. Come this weekend, Alabama, I'm going to say, right, Alabama's going to probably score either 50 or 60 points. Minimum. Take the over if you're betting. And they're going to look like, they're going to look like what they are. And then next year, I don't think they're going to be in the top 4, bro.
They're not going to be in the ACC next year.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's only 1 year.
But even with that, his statement's not even correct. You weren't there last year. You weren't there the year before, bro. I mean, it's like I can see Georgia saying that more so than him, because usually Georgia's kind of close. But bro, you had that 1 year you got beat down by Alabama. Outside that, when you always been there? When? Most of the time they put you there beginning of the season, and then you flounder down to number 15 or 17, then you go to a bowl game. Let's be honest, bro. I mean, anyone that follows college sports know what he said is crazy. But here again, same thing with Dabo with him. This weekend, your team got to play. Can't talk through this past weekend, bro. They got to play. So when you're getting beat down by halftime, come out and talk to the reporter and say, you know what? Yeah, we ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. And please, somebody ask him that. Ask him that when the game is over. Do you think you proved something?
No, the better question is, do you have anything to prove now?
Oh, my goodness.
God.
Yeah, it's crazy because, they, of course, there was that one and done, right? You talk about the athletes, one and done. They made sure of that. They're like, look, we're not signing a long-term contract, especially in that conference. So they went back to where it's safe, go back to independent status, right? So when everything comes back, they still have their own network, NBC. So they got that by themselves. They don't have to worry about anything. And it's safe over there because they can determine their own schedules, who they play early, who they don't play. They have a couple teams they play each year. But as long as they win enough games, even if they don't make it to the 4, they get on a big ball game. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about with them. Chip Kelly, I remember when he was over he was at Cincinnati, and he had a nice little run over there. And then he moved up to the big boys, and it was almost as if he thought it was going to be automatic. They were going to win big games, and that's not always the case. And I know people say, oh, you're always picking on Notre Dame. It's one thing, if you're winning games and you're winning top-notch level games and you're winning championships, then you can run that talk. And for as much as I hear what Dabo Swinney says, he can at least say he legit because he won. Okay, I get that. Now, what some stuff he says, do I still find outlandish? Yes. But he still can say it because he's won before. But, it's kind of like the still being the little stepbrother. That's what's going on with Dabo right now. For as much as he has done great with his university, he still can't get over the fact that he wishes he's the coach at Alabama.
Yeah.
He's still struggling with that. And until Saban leaves, unless he continues to beat Saban like 5 in a row, he gonna still struggle with that. But there's still quality teams and good teams as well. But overall, you know, like I said, this was Notre Dame's year. It was supposed to be, and now they're gonna have to prove it again. If you really want to stop all the drama, man, and stop us from talking and other people saying what they saying about you, just beat Alabama, man. Ain't no big deal. Just going to beat them, bro. Show everybody in America they were wrong. They don't know what the hell they talk about. Your team is quality. You do have some good players. Show them they have no clue what they're talking about. Because on the field, that's where it counts.
Well, I think Clemson didn't want to see Ohio State again because they were one pass away from getting beat by Ohio State last year, and Dabo knows it. They were one miscalculated pass away from getting their ass beat. But you can't tell me some of these coaches and what they're doing and what they're saying ain't smoking crack. I'm talking about in the college, in the NFL. It's like, I mean, you're sitting there going, why would they do that? Well, you know, they're getting paid to make a decision like this. Where are they? Are they even there watching the game and kind of coaching? Or they're just so used to just sitting there? And Kelly is just I mean, he's delusional. He's delusional to think that Notre Dame, if they had, I wish they had a decent team that could have took that spot. Because at Notre Dame, there was no way they deserved to be in that spot. The only reason why you said it, Black, they were in the ACC. That was a tough conference. But next year when they go independent and they start with that schedule where they don't play anybody anymore, they're out. They're out. They didn't even play the toughest schedule in the ACC. But the mere fact that they were in a Power 5 got them the nod. Got them the nod because they didn't want to see another SEC team sitting up in there with Texas. And I don't think Texas A&M deserved to be there either with Jimbo Fisher. He was trying to talk his way into it. But if Florida had if their coach had any sense and some of their players had any sense, they'd be sitting there. They would have won against LSU, and they'd be sitting there in the number 4 spot. But if they and the way they played Alabama would have been a better game than Notre Dame and Alabama. Would have been a far better game than seeing that. I would rather see Florida and Alabama play again than see Notre Dame get trashed in this bowl game coming up.
I'm looking at Jared Goff, man, how they make a big deal of his thumb. He played bad all year. I don't give a damn if he getting an operation or not. But I know I was changing the subject. I'm sorry, man. Stop acting like this guy's something better than what he is, man. I'm just tired of seeing it. But I want to go back to what I said earlier about these NBA players, man, the next contracts. And the bad thing about I'm happy for them getting their money. Don't get me wrong. But shouldn't you play at a certain level when you have a max contract?
Yep.
Not that you should have been in the league for 5-6 years or whatever. Shouldn't your play, even Anthony Davis, man, I look at him, I know he won a championship, but look at the brother. He's out already. Max contract. Out. It's like, I mean, and I know we can't expect him to be what players were in the past, but when have you seen so many simple injuries that people don't play from in the NBA? Simple. I mean, I thought baseball players took time off for simple injuries. Basketball players now, they take time off for anything, man.
Yeah.
Anything. I went to the dentist yesterday. I got to take a couple of games off. What's going on, bro? I don't understand it.
I remember going and seeing the Bulls in the old stadium, and there was no, you take a day off, a game off, but they knew how to rest their players. And I remember Michael Jordan played. They were playing the Washington. I don't know if it was the Wizards at that time, but they were playing Washington, and it was going to be an easy slam dunk game. Jordan played the first quarter, and that was it. And I think the reason why he played the first quarter is like people paid their money. Mm-hmm. They wanted to see Jordan. I think he put up 8 points, and a dunk. He did his thing for one quarter, and I always appreciated that. That listen, everybody paid their money. These were some cheap tickets. You ain't come to see the Washington basketball team play. You come to see Jordan play, and he played I think maybe a quarter. And maybe 2 or 3 minutes in the second quarter, and he was done for the night. And so I appreciate that. But these players now, they take the whole game off. You paid your ticket. You bring your kid, whatever. They want to see their favorite player. They got the player's jersey, and he's sitting on the bench with a suit on. He can play, but I need a rest. So I think teams need to be more cognizant of that and say, okay, you're not going to play the whole game. I'm going to give you 5-10 minutes. And then you can sit out the rest of the game. People come, they pay their ticket to come to see you. Hit a basket or two or something. Give people a highlight. You know, that may be the only time they get to come and see a basketball game. Give them something they can take. Hey, I saw such and such. I could say, going to the old Chicago Stadium in that old building they tore down, I got to see Michael Jordan play live. And I got to see him play in, you know, in other games in the United Center and all that other stuff. But what if that was the only time I got to see him? At least I got to see him play in that particular stadium. So I don't think that the NBA games or these players really think about that. They just think about themselves, their own money, and damn if you pay a ticket or not. I got your money. My check is in the bank, so I don't care if I play or not. I'm paid.
Yeah, I think part of that too, though, is you got to think about it. Even when before COVID, that oftentimes those tickets had to be bought in advance, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're playing a good team or whatever, even if it's like you said, the Bulls. So the Bulls are playing the Lakers, right? Now, so the Bulls play the Lakers, and some dad or mom is out there. You got a family of 3, 4. They got to buy the ticket in advance, and then the guy, LeBron James, says, "Oh, I'm not gonna play." And it's like, really? 1 year we've been waiting all year to see you. We got the jersey. We got the when you walk in the building, you know, the kids want everything. They want the wristbands. They want the jumping giraffe or whatever is going on. They all the stuff with the emblem on it and the logo. And you come out of that with a bunch of money that you spent, and then you get to the player where he's not showing up. That is very selfish to me. And there used to be a time where you get players after the games and sign autographs and stuff like that too, but that's no longer. So I don't know. It's really sad from that standpoint. I do want to switch back to college football real quick, talk about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The last thing I'll say about that is when Notre Dame was trounced and got shellacked in the title game, in the conference title game versus Clemson, I think they put the football committee in a crazy tizzy, okay? Because everybody talking about whether or not they didn't know where Ohio State belonged in there, but then Notre Dame was there. So you had to say whether or not, because for a long time they wanted to act as if Notre Dame had played more games, they were better than Ohio State. But when Notre Dame got shellacked, they could not come right back and show you the same game again. 2 versus 3, which had been Notre Dame versus Clemson. Their hands were tied. Like, if we do put Notre Dame in, they have to be 4. Because nobody wanted to see Notre Dame and Clemson in the semifinal. Nobody wanted to see that. So they flipped it, put Ohio State 3, and now Notre Dame 4. It's kind of crazy when you think about that, because everybody's like, "Oh, this is a great game," and they're really when they don't quarterback, their quarterbacks are back. Notre Dame's still a good team. Wrong answer. So we'll see how this plays out over the weekend.
Yeah, I do all along, man. Notre Dame, I said it. It's like they were going to be there, bro. Ohio State is going to be there. All that talk previous to me made no sense at all. When you allow them to change the rules for Ohio State, they're going to be there. If they beat Northwestern, even if they lost, they might have made it 5-1. It's not a 4-game. It's a money 4-game tournament, bro. It's what it is. All those 4 schools are a draw. If you'd have put Texas A&M in instead of Notre Dame, the viewership would not have been there, bro. It is what it is. It's what it is. I'm sorry. I mean, Notre Dame around this country is beloved for whatever reason. Rudy, whatever it is. People still, they love Notre Dame. They'll tune in to see Notre Dame taking a lack and know they're going to get beat. And it's what it comes down to. So you got to appease ESPN. As much as they want to come out and say it, you got to appease them. It's big money. So it didn't matter. Even if Clemson lost 2 games to Notre Dame, was Clemson coming out? I doubt it. That was just all, to me, was just, what? A dog and pony show. But to me, this week, go out and do what you have to do. The 2 teams that probably deserve to be there will come out of this weekend. I'm here again. I think it's going to be Clemson, Alabama. But to me, Ohio State, to shut everybody up, knock them down.
Yeah, knock them down.
You got it. You got it. Without any reluctancy, take them down. And then at the end of the game, say we're gonna play 1 game this season and beat Clemson. That's it. I mean,
the other part you got to look at too, that everybody knows and talk about game plan. You cannot let Trevor Lawrence run. They're going to have to shut him down. He cannot run. When you start letting him run, opens the door for ETN, and they start passing their rock. So this is going to be interesting. Ohio State's going to come out and play. The off defense has been up and down a little bit this year, but they're going to just play the game, man. You got to get everybody back. And, now had time for everybody to get back off COVID. Mistakes and the excuses are over. It's time to play football.
Yeah, I got to check out what Tim May, what his thoughts about with the game, because he's a big Ohio State guy. So I want to see. I'm gonna check on Twitter to see what he's talking about. He has some great funny comments on Twitter. If you guys are following him, he's pretty on target with everything he's saying on Twitter.
He said he would come back on the show if you invite him.
Yeah, he's always invited. He's always invited on this show. I'd love to have him.
The Snow Leopard said he want to come back in. He said, now you doing video, you don't bring him on.
oh,
Come on, man. Love to talk to you.
there it is, baby.
Snow Leopard said, he doing video now, you done got brand new.
I would like to get his comments also on boxing and what he thinks about boxing now, especially the middleweights and the heavyweights and the lighter weights. I would like to get his thoughts of that along with college football, and then the Urban Meyer situation that we talked about earlier. I would love to get his comments on that.
Cowboys, baby. I'm here to tell
Cowboys?
you. Yeah, he's going there, man. In no other spot. In no spot other than the Cowboys. I mean,
that would be interesting.
I'm gonna say this right now. I wouldn't even take the Detroit Lions head coach job. I don't care who. I wouldn't take that job. I'm sorry. I know that any coaching job is worth it, but to me, that job is an insult.
They got a committee together trying to choose the new GM and coach with Barry Sanders and a bunch of other folks from their past. And Tony Dungy, I believe, is on that committee. They're trying to figure it out.
Speaking of Tony Dungy, I know him and some other people are to put a committee together for Houston. And that's the team that talked to Marvin Lewis. They need to be fired, bro. You can't talk to Marvin Lewis, bro. You can't, man. If you want to talk to Marvin Lewis, leave Romeo Cornell on the job. It's just that simple, bro. I'm sorry. I mean, you cannot talk to Marvin. It shows to me you have no seriousness about trying to bring a head coach in there, bro. Seriously. You put them all together, and I love Tony Dungy, but this should not be favoritism. It should be, you got to find the right person. It's only one person to talk to, bro. Be honest. Houston's only one person to talk to. If you're not talking to Airbnb, cut it out. Stop playing. You can talk to the assistant coaches this week with permission of the team. You can talk to them this week. A lot of assistant coaches you can talk to. So if you ain't talking to Airbnb, what are you doing? The Texans? Are you kidding me? Marvin Lewis. Bro, that pissed me off when I read that. I'm sorry, man.
I think they're gonna try to talk. I think they're gonna talk to Jim Caldwell too.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Seriously, this man can't win a playoff game. I don't give a damn. He black, blue, whatever. He can't win. How do you talk to him with serious consideration?
Hey, all I know is this: if the enemy does take their call, like, what you gonna do at wide receiver?
Yeah, you gotta get on.
First thing, that's the first thing he gonna say. Look, who's gonna be the wide receiver? I need a wide receiver and a quality running back. You got anything? You got anything going on there?
Bill Bryant damaged that team, bro. He damaged that team big time, man. I mean, that's another. That team is damaged. I mean, you got a good quarterback. Watt's basically over the hill. That defense is nothing to write home about. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough. I mean, here again, the number one pick, Jacksonville is a team, to me, that you want to go coach right now, bro. I'm just saying what it is, and I think that's where Eric should go. Go to Jacksonville. They're gonna get the number one pick. They ain't trying to win. They're gonna look good. But they ain't trying to win, and they're gonna fire the head coach. Go to Jacksonville. Don't think about Detroit. don't even think about Detroit, bro. Either to Jacksonville, or if Davis I'm not Davis. If the Chargers quarterback coach gets fired, Chargers. Other than that, don't even wait till next year. serious, bro. Because he's gonna get lost. He's gonna get lost, and then people are gonna be like, "Well, it was all Andy Reid doing." Mm-mm.
I still think Houston is probably his best bet and get some players that can navigate that system he's going to bring there. But Jacksonville is a weird place, man. In Florida, it's a weird place.
It is. Realistically, I'm gonna say this. I've been down there. I've been there to watch a game. It's not a place for NFL franchise.
No, it's not.
No, they were just really putting one there. It really isn't. It's not a place for NFL franchise. It's not.
Yeah, I can't even put my finger on I've been there twice, and it's like, this not a. I don't know. It's a weird place, man.
Yeah, it doesn't belong there. That's like years ago when Kraft was trying to get a new deal in Boston. He came to Connecticut and talked to the dumb governor here about bringing the Patriots. Patriots were never to play in Connecticut. And then you might have been in college at the time, but yeah, before they got their new deal, Kraft came here. Governor Rowland was the governor at the time, and Connecticut had a surplus of $35 million they're going to throw at him. And Kraft came in. He walked around the area where they thought about building a stadium. The next week, Boston gave him their new stadium. He was never coming to Connecticut. The TV market's too small, bro. I mean, NFL probably wouldn't even have it, but I don't know, an expansion. And it is another thing. I saw an article where the NBA think about expanding.
Yeah, to Seattle. Yeah, they've been talking about Seattle. And I'm like, this is the wrong time to be talking about it.
Yes. If anything, move a franchise to Seattle, but you do not add another team.
Yeah, they've been talking about. I wouldn't mind having a franchise back in Seattle, but it's not the time.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely got to put one back there. I'll be honest with you. Well, no, because they really rally around teams. I was gonna say move OKC back, to be honest with you, but they do rally around OKC.
Yeah,
they do. They do. But Seattle needs another team. But now, like you said, now's not the time. How are you talking about that? You losing money?
They're going to say they're losing money. To me, they're going to say they're losing a lot of money. So they're going to take the money from the players. Mm-hmm. Maybe they had, it's money. The way they're carrying on now, money's coming from somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but I know it's not coming from the fans. But the NBA is going to kind of figure out a way, have somebody dump money on them, something. They're a savvy league to have survived this long. And they always seem to come up smelling like roses. So even with this setback with the pandemic, I think there's some money somewhere that they have. And if they want to expand, they will do it. Just like this is going to be a trip. And you're going to see a lot of what James Harden's doing and people partying and stuff. They stopped testing for weed.
Yes. Yes.
You think basketball is bad now? My God.
You know where the sponsorship gonna come from now? You want where the money come from?
Snoop Dogg?
The weed distributors.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, logo on the jersey.
Oh man, look. You know what I'm saying, baby? Got to get it in, baby.
Yeah. You think that?
Look, you want to look instead of alcohol commercials, you might as well take a break with a stick, baby. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You might as well go get your hit before time out is over. Dude, I'm trying to tell you, when they legalize marijuana all the way across the board, it's gonna be hell in a handbasket.
But you notice that story just was under the radar. Nobody talked about it. It was like mentioned, and nobody talked about it. Then all of a sudden, everybody had to go to their birthday parties. Everybody had to do this. Everybody had to do that. Folks failing COVID tests.
Hey, when you get to the point where, dude, when like your girl said, Sue Bird said she taking them edibles in the cage when she was in the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was doing edibles in the bubble. So she said she needed to relax. It's all going to hell. One of your greatest players of all time. She already told Steven Jackson she gonna have a smoke team. She gonna have a smoke team. I'm like, what? Who does that? She's like, oh yeah, I was just taking the edge off during the playoffs, and you know, I was giving my edibles on in the ball. Hell yeah, what?
Nuts, baby. That's
What?
not.
And she said too that I guess her sister-in-law or whatever, somebody has a company in weed now, so they just about to double down and get all the money. How many WNBA, NBA players are gonna go to the Sue Bird connected dispensary to get the best weed on the market? Come on, man. It's all about the hookups, bro. I'm trying to tell you. When she came out and said that, I said, man, it's a wrap.
So you got guys going 10 for 31. Paul George scoring 15 points. And again, making blown up by 50.
He need an edible, bro. See, that's the problem. Some people can smoke or get high and play great games.
Yeah.
Some people have that capability.
But not everybody. The whole Clipper team, they had to be high. To lose by 50 points to Dallas, they had to be high, man.
I remember a dude in high school.
And a half.
Hey, I'm with you.
Tyronn Lue.
I'm trying to tell you. I remember a dude in high school. He was a senior. I was a freshman. Before the games, he would come and he would drink a brick of rose, dog. And he had one of the greatest games of his whole career. He dropped like 29. He dropped like 29, and you could smell the alcohol on his breath. So some people function like that, man.
Yeah. Because, you play at Gulf Street Park, back in the day. You had guys, drink, had their brew, go out there and play basketball, smooth as glass, just out there, just gliding on the court. But everybody can't do that.
That's true. Me and my brother, we used to go to the park in the summer. We play all day long, go home, get something to eat, lay down for a minute. At 10:30 or 11, we jump in the car, go down the street, around the corner. It was a park lit up like a Christmas tree. Lights all on, guys playing ball. You get out the car, there was a prerequisite. You look up, go on the sidelines, you get out, come to the area, get your space. A number of brown bags lined up against the whole thing, against the court, man. You got to bring your 40 with you, baby. You got to bring the 40 to the table because you're going to need some refreshment, liquid refreshment. I promise you, the whole thing was lined up, number 40s, bro. You waiting on, you got next, oh yeah. Can I run? Oh yeah, you good? Go ahead, baby. Get your drink. Take a break, come back. Number 40 ounces, bro. It was the greatest time ever.
No Gatorade.
No Gatorade. 40 ounce brews, bro. 11 o'clock at night, lights go off about 1. Some of the best damn basketball you play in your life, just getting it in. That was basketball. You now they playing all soft. Back then, you get your little 40, get your little drink. It kind of rehydrates you. You pumped up, get ready for this game. We gotta get them next time, bro. Yeah, you right, man. Get that drink on, bro.
Welcome to the new NBA.
Old school.
Yeah, but you see the way Haskins got let go today, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't really a surprise. Especially when Alex Smith, even if Alex Smith wasn't coming back, I think they were going to release him. They're done.
He's bro. What have you been doing for the past 2 years?
Old boy from ESPN, I forget the brother's name. He's the bald big guy with the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he outreached to him and tried to talk to him. I think last week or a couple of weeks ago. He said when he got off the phone, he kind of felt like this guy ain't getting it. He ain't getting it.
You gonna get it now? Cause who's coming for him?
Yeah, because they were saying that if nobody picks him up in 24 hours after that I don't know if the $4 million he's guaranteed he'd get that. He can sign for the the rookie contract or that's it.
See, I think that was part of his problem. He figured that money was guaranteed. He was just going to play, and things just going to fall in the process. But, bro, I mean, you can't be. Here's the question for me, and it's kind of rhetorical, but how did he survive at Ohio State like that, bro?